The patrol ship HMS Victory moved through the black void of space like a shark hunting through dark water. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge with her hands behind her back, watching the stars drift past. The ship hummed with power beneath her feet. Every system worked perfectly. Every crew member knew their job. Lisa had been commanding the HMS Victory for 3 years. She was the kind of captain who earned respect through action, not through rank alone. Her officers followed her orders without question because they knew she would never order them to do something she would not do herself. First Officer Hayes stood beside her, checking reports on his data screen. Tactical Specialist Cross monitored the weapons systems. Engineer Daniel Foster worked below deck, making sure the ship stayed in perfect condition. The crew of the HMS Victory was on a routine patrol in neutral space. This was boring work most of the time. They moved from one colony to another, watching for trouble, making sure trade routes stayed safe. Lisa did not mind the boring work. Boring meant nothing had gone wrong. Boring meant her crew went home alive at the end of their shift. The radio crackled. It was a distress signal coming from the direction of 7 Trading Station. Hayes looked up from his screen immediately. "Captain, we are picking up an emergency transmission," said. Lisa turned toward him. "Source." "The trading station and the outer dock. It is not a normal distress call. They are reporting a theft and violence. Human officers are dead, Captain." The words hit Lisa like a blow to the chest. Dead. Human officers. Not alien traders or corporate security. Actual humans from the Earth Defense Fleet. She made a decision in half a second. "Full speed to 7. Get me all details," Lisa commanded. The HMS Victory burned its engines hard. The crew worked fast, pulling every piece of information they could find. The message that came through was clear and terrible. The smugglers had come to the trading station. They had worked quickly. They had killed 3 human officers stationed there to guard a supply ship called the HMS Discovery. That ship was now gone. Stolen. But they had also taken prisoners. 5 more humans were still missing. Sarah Mitchell and William Cooper were among them. Both were young officers. Both had families back on Earth. Both were now in the hands of criminals who operated in the deepest parts of space where the law did not reach. Lisa read the reports as the HMS Victory raced toward the station. The attack had been planned. The attackers knew exactly where to hit. They knew the HMS Discovery had advanced human technology. They knew the ship carried quantum computers and adaptive shield systems. They knew what they were taking and why they wanted it. The smugglers called themselves the Syndicate. They were not one species. They were 5 different alien races working together to make profit from crime, weapons sales, slave trading, drug smuggling. They moved through the galaxy like a disease, taking what they wanted from whoever could not stop them. When the HMS Victory arrived at 7, Lisa saw the damage for herself. The docking bay where the HMS Discovery had been parked was torn apart. Equipment lay scattered across the ground. Emergency panels flashed red with warning lights. The station commander met Lisa on the dock, his face with shock and failure. "They came in fast, Captain," the commander said. His name was Robert Pierce. He was a good man who had simply been caught by people meaner and faster than he was. "We did not have time to fight back. They had weapons, real weapons, not just defensive gear. They killed everyone who stood in their way." Lisa looked at the empty space where the HMS Discovery had been. The ship was gone. 3 officers were dead. 5 more were gone. The Syndicate had taken them like they were picking fruit from a tree. "How long ago?" Lisa asked. 4 hours, maybe a little more. They jumped to hyperspace heading toward the outer rim. We cannot track them past that point. Lisa walked through the damage. She saw the scorches on the walls where weapons had fired. She saw the blood on the floor where humans had fallen. This was not just a theft. This was an attack. This was a message that someone thought humanity was weak. Someone thought they could steal from Earth and face no real consequences. That was a mistake. Hayes came to stand beside her. He had been on similar patrols, seen similar crime scenes, but this was different. This was personal now. Those were their people in the hands of criminals. "What do we do, Captain?" asked. Lisa looked at him with hard eyes. "We hunt them, we get our people back, and we make sure the entire galaxy knows what happens to people who steal from humanity." She turned to face the station commander. "I need all information about the syndicate, trade routes, known bases, anything your intelligence people have gathered, everything, and I need it now." The commander nodded quickly. He understood that Captain Lisa Morgan was not asking for a favor. She was giving him an order that would help him fix his failure. Within minutes, Lisa had access to files, reports, and data that had been gathered over years. The information painted a picture of a criminal organization that had grown fat and comfortable, an organization that thought it could operate without fear. That would change. Lisa called her senior staff to the conference room. Hayes sat on her right. Cross, the tactical specialist, sat across from them. Daniel Foster came up from the engine room, still wearing his work coveralls. They were the best people on the ship. They were also the most dangerous people the Syndicate could possibly face. "We are going after the HMS Discovery," Lisa said simply. "We are going to get our people back, and we are going to destroy the Syndicate's operation completely. They thought they were clever. They thought they were safe. They thought humanity would file a report and wait for someone else to handle this through politics and bureaucracy. They were wrong about all three things." "The Galactic Council will not approve," said carefully. "The Galactic Council is not in command of this vessel. I am," Lisa replied. "Our people are prisoners. Our ship is stolen. We respond now. We respond hard. We respond without mercy. That is how we earn respect in this galaxy." Cross smiled. She was a warrior, and warriors understood this language. "How many ships are we going to need?" 3 fast attack corvettes and the HMS Victory," Lisa said. "That is all we need. That is all we have time to gather. We move in 6 hours." The meeting ended. Lisa was alone on the bridge as the stars rotated slowly around the ship. Somewhere out there in the dark, the HMS Discovery was moving toward another crime, another horrible act, carrying 5 human prisoners. The Syndicate thought they had won. They thought they had stolen something valuable and gotten away. They had no idea what was coming. They had no idea what humans could do when they were angry. The intelligence team worked through the night without rest. Lisa sat in the command center, drinking cold coffee and reading reports. The officers around her looked tired, but nobody complained. This was what they joined the fleet to do. This was what mattered. The lead intelligence officer was Captain George Washington. His nickname was Hawk because he could spot details other people missed. George had been hunting criminals for 15 years. He knew how to think like a criminal because he understood what criminals wanted. Criminals wanted profit, power, and safety. The Syndicate wanted all 3 things. "Here is what we know," George said, pulling up a star map. "The Syndicate has at least 5 major bases we have identified. 3 of them are in open space hidden inside asteroid fields. One is on a moon near the sector. One is inside a decommissioned space station they claim to own." Lisa leaned forward. Which one would they use as a primary location? "The asteroid base," George said without hesitation. "It is in the outer rim where nobody goes. It is surrounded by thousands of rocks that make detection difficult. It has natural cover and multiple escape routes. If I was leading a criminal organization, that is where I would hide my most valuable assets." "The HMS Discovery is there," Lisa said. It was not a question. She had learned long ago to trust George's instincts. "Most likely, yes. The base has a dry dock facility large enough to hide multiple ships. They could modify stolen vessels there without being spotted. We have records of 4 other ships missing in this sector over the past 2 years. All of them are probably at this base." Was the chief pilot. She had flown every type of military vessel humanity had ever built. She could fly in combat better than anyone Lisa had ever seen. When the shooting started, would be behind the controls of the HMS Victory, and the Syndicate would learn what real fear felt like. "How do we get close without being detected?" asked. George pulled up more data. The Syndicate does not have advanced sensor technology. They rely on visual detection and basic radar. If we approach from the Iron Storm in Sector 7, their sensors will not pick us up until we are very close. The storm creates interference. We can hide inside it. And then, Lisa asked, we approach as a damaged cargo vessel asking for repairs. We look desperate. We look weak. The Syndicate is greedy. They will see an easy opportunity to steal more human technology. They will let us dock. Cross, the tactical officer, was already thinking through the combat angles. She sat back in her chair and closed her eyes. Lisa had seen her do this before, was building the battle in her mind, seeing every move, every counter move. "Once we dock, they will search the ship," said. "We cannot hide weapons if they look carefully." "We will not hide weapons," George said. "We will hide people. 30 of our best soldiers will be inside the cargo bay, hidden behind false walls. Once docking is complete and the Syndicate does a basic scan, we activate the assault." Lisa nodded slowly. It was a good plan. It was dangerous. People would probably die. But the alternative was leaving her crew in the hands of criminals. That was not acceptable. "I want to know everything about their commander," Lisa said to George. "Find me everything, every report, every record, every mention." George worked through the night. By sunrise, he had found what Lisa needed. The Syndicate commander was unnamed. There were tall creatures with skin and sharp features. They were smart. They were cruel. Had been a military officer once, working for his own government before he decided crime was more profitable than duty. "He is careful," George reported. "He does not make mistakes often, but he is also arrogant. He believes the Syndicate is too powerful for humans to challenge. He has never fought human military personnel in serious combat. He has never faced coordinated human tactics." "Then he is about to learn," Lisa said. The crew of the HMS Victory worked around the clock. Engineers prepared the ship for combat. They loaded weapons, checked systems, and made sure every defensive shield was at maximum capacity. Medical Officer Wells prepared her trauma bay. She had treated human injuries before. She had also learned to treat alien injuries when necessary. If people were going to be shot, would make sure as many of them as possible stayed alive. Communications expert Richard Adams studied Syndicate frequency patterns. He found the radio channels they used. He found the security codes they relied on. He found digital locks that had simple back doors because criminals were too confident to build proper security. Ran flight simulations in the ship's computers. She flew the approach to the asteroid base 100 times. Each time, she found a better angle. Each time, she practiced the combat maneuvers that would keep the HMS Victory alive during the battle. The 3 fast attack corvettes arrived on schedule. Each corvette was smaller and faster than the HMS Victory, but they carried serious weapons. Each ship had a crew of 20 experienced warriors. Each captain had volunteered for this mission, knowing the risks were high. Lisa called all the captains together for a final briefing. She stood in front of a holographic display showing the asteroid base in perfect detail. "We are going to rescue our people," Lisa said. "We are going to recover our ship, and we are going to send a message to every criminal in this galaxy. That message is simple. Do not attack humans. Do not steal from humans. Do not take human prisoners. Because if you do, we will find you. We will crush you. And we will show the entire galaxy what happens to anyone stupid enough to believe humans are weak." The captains nodded. They understood the stakes. They understood they were about to break Galactic Council rules and attack a foreign installation. They also understood it was the right thing to do. "The Syndicate will not expect us," Lisa continued. They believe we follow rules. They believe we report crimes and wait for approval. They believe bureaucracy protects them. Those beliefs will kill them. When we attack fast. We attack hard. We do not stop until everyone is either captured or dead. The room went quiet. This was the moment where officers either committed to the fight or asked to be reassigned. Not one single officer asked for reassignment. "We leave in 4 hours," Lisa said. "Make sure your crews are ready. Make sure your weapons are loaded. Make sure your people know that when the shooting starts, we do not hesitate. We do not slow down. We do not show mercy." Lisa walked back to her quarters and looked at a photo on her wall. It showed her with her crew, taken during a peaceful mission 3 years ago. They all looked happy. They looked safe. The syndicate had changed that. The syndicate had made this personal. Lisa put on her combat uniform. It was heavier than her regular captain's jacket. It had protective plating built into it. It had a comm system integrated into the collar. It had everything she needed to survive the battle that was coming. She looked at herself in the mirror. Her eyes were hard. Her jaw was set. She looked like exactly what she was, a human warrior about to face her enemies. The clock counted down. 4 hours became 2 hours. 2 hours became 30 minutes. The crew took their positions. The ships undocked from the station. The formation of 4 human military vessels turned toward the outer rim and the darkness beyond. Behind them, the syndicate base did not know they were coming. The syndicate commander did not know his comfortable life was about to end in fire and blood. The hunt had begun. The ion storm created a perfect wall between the human ships and the syndicate base. Piloted the HMS Victory with surgical precision, keeping the ship just at the edge of the storm where sensors could not track their movement clearly. Behind her came the 3 corvettes, moving in perfect formation. Every captain understood their role. Every crew member knew exactly what would happen next. Lisa stood on the bridge of the HMS Victory and watched the approach on the main display. The asteroid base appeared on the screen as a cluster of objects floating in the darkness. Docking facilities, gun emplacements, defense platforms. The syndicate had built themselves a fortress, but they had built it for defense against enemies like themselves. They had never built it to defend against humans. "Beautiful work," Lisa said quietly. Did not take her eyes off the controls. "We are being scanned now. Their radar just locked onto our hull." Richard Adams was already working. His fingers moved across the communications console like a musician playing a complex piece. He had loaded false data into the transmission system. When the syndicate asked for identification, the HMS Victory would not say it was a military vessel. It would say it was a cargo hauler named the Star Merchant, damaged and desperate, looking for repairs. The radio crackled with an alien voice. The language was standard galactic trade dialect. Richard had set the translation system to convert it automatically. "Unidentified vessel, you are approaching a restricted installation. Identify yourself immediately or face weapons fire." Richard pressed the transmit button. "This is the Star Merchant. We have sustained critical damage in the ion storm. Our engines are offline. Our shields are failing. We require immediate repairs or we will be destroyed. We are willing to pay any reasonable price." The radio went silent for a moment. Lisa could almost see the syndicate commander thinking about it. A damaged vessel, a desperate crew, humans who appeared to have valuable technology. Easy profit. The radio came back to life. "Stand down your weapons. Maintain current approach vector. You will be granted docking permission. Any deviation from these instructions will result in immediate destruction." Smiled grimly, they took the bait. "Hold formation," Lisa ordered the corvette captains through the private military channel. "Stay in the ion storm. Do not show yourselves until I give the signal." The HMS Victory approached the syndicate base like a wounded animal approaching shelter. Moved the ship slowly, deliberately showing that the engines were damaged. She vented some coolant into space to make the deception look real. She made the ship move in the way a crippled vessel would move. The docking platform extended from the asteroid. It was reinforced steel and alien alloys, built to hold heavy cargo. The HMS Victory lined up with the docking collar. The connection sealed with a soft clunk. They were docked. "All stop," Lisa commanded. The ship went silent. Nobody moved. The entire crew was waiting. Richard Adams opened the communication channel again. "Station Control, thank you for the assistance. Our main engines are offline. We will need at least 6 hours for repairs. We have a full cargo hold we are willing to trade for repair services." A group of syndicate workers would be coming aboard the HMS Victory soon. They would scan the ship for valuable cargo. They would not find anything special. That was intentional. Lisa did not want them too interested in the cargo bay. She wanted them to complete their inspection quickly and move on. In the cargo bay below the main deck, 30 soldiers waited in a space hidden behind false walls. They wore combat armor. They carried pulse rifles and energy weapons. They were warriors who had trained for months for exactly this moment. Their commander was a tough soldier named. He had volunteered for this mission because he wanted to get his people back alive. "Stand by," whispered into his comm unit. "Stand by for action." The soldiers checked their weapons one final time. Each magazine was loaded. Each safety was set properly. Each person knew their job and their exit route. Lisa walked through the ship like she owned it, which she did. Every officer she passed was calm and ready. Cross was in the tactical center, ready to take control of the weapon systems the moment Lisa gave the signal. Wells was in the medical bay, monitoring vital signs and preparing for casualties. Daniel Foster was in engineering, ready to unlock the ship's real power when the time came. The syndicate inspection team came aboard. They were a mix of alien species, tall ones, short ones, some with 4 arms, some with tentacles. They moved through the HMS Victory with confidence that came from believing they were superior to the humans who served them. They checked the cargo, they scanned the walls, they looked at the ship's systems. They did not look too hard. They did not expect to find anything surprising. This was a damaged cargo ship, nothing more. After 2 hours, the inspection team reported back to the base commander. "The vessel is a simple trader, damaged propulsion, some valuable electronic equipment. Repair work will take 4 to 6 hours. The crew appears to be experienced traders, not military personnel." Perfect. That was exactly what Lisa wanted the syndicate to believe. "Maintain full power on all systems," Lisa ordered quietly. "But nobody moves until I give the signal." The soldiers in the cargo bay waited. The crew on the bridge waited. The corvettes in the Iron Storm waited. Everyone was patient. Everyone was ready. Then Richard Adams received a priority transmission. It was from the syndicate main dock control. A cargo ship was preparing to leave the base. The transmission included security codes and docking information. "It is them," Richard said. "The HMS Discovery. They are moving it to a different location inside the facility." Lisa made an immediate decision. "All units, execute assault plan. I repeat, execute assault plan. Go, go, go." The words triggered every prepared action at once. In the cargo bay, smashed through the false walls, 30 soldiers poured out of hiding, running toward the ship's deployment ports. They carried repelling lines and weapons. They were going to hit the base in multiple locations simultaneously. Cross activated the weapons systems. The gentle trading vessel suddenly became what it always had been, a military warship. Every gun came online. Every shield flared to life. The transformation was instant and overwhelming. Fired the main engines. The docking collar broke with a screech of tearing metal. Alarms started screaming throughout the syndicate base. Lisa pressed the attack signal. "All corvettes and engage, take out the defense platforms, disable the communications." This installation is now under assault. The three corvettes burst out of the iron storm like hunters striking their prey. They were small and fast. Their weapons systems focused on the Syndicate's defense infrastructure. Missiles streaked toward radar towers and communications arrays. Energy weapons carved through the asteroid rock. The Syndicate base erupted into complete chaos. The HMS Victory moved away from the docking platform while its weapons tore into nearby guard ships. Two Syndicate patrol vessels tried to intercept. Cross targeted them with ruthless precision. Both ships exploded in balls of burning energy. Assault team used repelling lines to cross the gap between the HMS Victory and the asteroid surface. They hit the ground hard and started moving toward the detention facility where the human prisoners were being held. Behind them, the space battle raged. The sky above them lit up with weapons fire. The Syndicate commander watched his base come under attack and realized instantly that he had made a terrible mistake. These humans were not traitors. They were soldiers, and they were not here to negotiate. He started giving orders to his command staff. Evacuate non-essential personnel, move the stolen ships to the emergency dock, prepare for battle stations. But it was too late. The humans were inside the wire now. They had surprise. They had superior tactics. They had something that the Syndicate commander had never really understood. They had nothing left to lose because their people were being held prisoner in this base. That made humans incredibly dangerous. The assault had begun. There was no stopping it now. Led his assault team through the corridors of the Syndicate base like a hunter moving through familiar territory. His soldiers moved fast and professional. They encountered Syndicate guards at a security checkpoint. The guards tried to block the human advance. It was a mistake. The guards had weapons, but they did not have the speed or coordination of trained military personnel. They fired in panic. Their shots went wild. The human soldiers did not panic. They returned fire with cold precision. 6 guards fell in seconds. 7 more fled. Push forward, said. Second squad, take the eastern corridor. Third squad, secure the command center. First squad, you are with me. We need to get to the detention block. The Syndicate base had been built as a fortress against external attack. It had walls that were thick. It had weapons positioned at strategic points. It did not have much internal security because the Syndicate had never expected enemies to get this far inside. Turned a corner and came face to face with a group of Syndicate security personnel. They were armed with heavy weapons. They looked ready to make a stand. Did not hesitate. He threw a flash grenade around the corner. The grenade exploded in a blinding burst of light and sound. The Syndicate guards staggered backward, blinded and stunned. The human soldiers moved through them like a wave. In 30 seconds, it was over. They reached the detention block. It was a reinforced area with sealed doors and guard posts, but had the security codes. Richard Adams had extracted them from the Syndicate's digital network. The doors opened. Inside the detention block, they found the 5 human officers. Sarah Mitchell was the first one they saw. She had been locked in a cell for days. She was tired and scared but unbroken. "We are getting you out," said simply. The 5 prisoners did not ask questions. They understood immediately that rescue had arrived. They grabbed equipment from fallen Syndicate guards. They fell in line behind. In seconds, they were moving back through the corridors, heading for the evacuation point. But the battle outside was changing. The HMS Victory and the 3 corvettes had destroyed the Syndicate's outer defense systems, but the base itself was still fighting. Syndicate personnel were organizing. They were moving to fight positions. They were preparing to mount a serious defense. Lisa stood on the bridge of the HMS Victory and watched the battle unfold. The ships in the Syndicate dock were starting to move. Some were trying to launch. Others were trying to escape deeper into the asteroid. "They are moving the HMS Discovery," said urgently. "They are moving it to a secondary dock. If they get it to the escape tunnel, we lose it. Lisa made a decision that took less than a second. Daniel, are you ready? Daniel Foster's voice came from the engine room. All systems ready, Captain. Waiting for your signal. Send the security team. Now get that ship active. Daniel Foster had been watching the Syndicate base on screens from his position in the engine room. He understood what was happening. The stolen HMS Discovery was not just a valuable ship. It was a symbol of human pride. It could not be allowed to escape. He sent a security team of his best engineers to the docking facility. The team, led by a tough veteran named Jackson Drake, moved fast across the gap between the HMS Victory and the base. They carried cutting torches and override codes. They had one job: get the HMS Discovery operational. Jackson Drake and his team reached the HMS Discovery before the Syndicate could move the ship further. The vessel was a beautiful thing, even in the dark of the docking facility. Advanced human engineering, quantum computers, adaptive shield systems. It represented everything good that Earth technology could do. The Syndicate had tried to override the ship's security systems, but they did not understand human design. Every Earth warship had a biological lock on the critical systems. The lock read human DNA. The lock opened only for humans. Jackson Drake placed his hand on the DNA reader. The system recognized him. Locked doors opened. Security panels powered down. The ship began to wake up. The computer systems came online with a soft hum. Lights illuminated the corridors. The main bridge displayed came to life. Jackson Drake moved to the command chair and began running the activation sequence. Above them, the space battle was intensifying. One of the corvettes took heavy damage from Syndicate missile fire. The ship's shields flared red, but the human crews did not slow down. They adapted. They changed tactics. They used the asteroid field to their advantage, hiding behind rocks, striking from unexpected angles. The Syndicate commander was losing. He knew it. His base was under attack. His defenses were collapsing. His soldiers were dying. His organization was falling apart in front of him. But he still had options. He still had ships. He still had weapons. And he still had the human prisoners. Wait, no, he did not. The detention block had been breached. The human prisoners were gone. Screamed orders into his command system. Find them. Find those humans. Shoot them on sight. I want them dead. But it was too late for that. His team had already reached the evacuation point. They were already moving back toward the HMS Victory. The 5 freed prisoners were safe. Jackson Drake's hands flew across the controls of the HMS Discovery. The ship's weapons systems came online. The shield generators powered up. The main engines began their startup sequence. In minutes, the stolen ship would be fully operational. Main systems online, Jackson reported to the HMS Victory. Weapons charged, shields active. This ship is ready for combat. Then use it, Lisa ordered. Use those weapons to defend this base. Use them to show the Syndicate what they stole from us. The HMS Discovery's weapons came alive. Its pulse cannons targeted the Syndicate defense platforms with deadly accuracy. One platform after another exploded in cascades of fire. The Syndicate's remaining military strength was being destroyed by their own stolen prize. Watched his base burn. He watched his organization collapse. He made a decision. He would escape. He would take whatever ships and personnel he could and flee into deep space. He would rebuild somewhere else, somewhere safer. He ran to his command ship, a fast assault vessel called the Valiant. His crew was already powering up the engines, took the captain's chair and gave orders to launch. But saw the escape attempt. She predicted the exact moment the command ship would leave the dock. She positioned the HMS Victory to block the escape route. I have him, said. He is trying to run. Do not let him, Lisa commanded. The HMS Victory's weapons locked onto's command ship. The first volley of missiles hit the vessel before it could even reach full power. The ship's starboard engines exploded. Debris scattered across the docking facility. Screamed curses. His ship was dying. His crew was panicking. He tried to make a run for the hyperspace drive anyway, but the damaged engines could not give him enough speed. The ship limped forward, crippled and dying. Cross targeted the hyperdrive. A single pulse cannon shot destroyed it completely. The command ship would not be jumping to hyperspace. It would not be escaping. It would remain here, disabled and helpless. The battle was ending. The Syndicate base was falling. The human forces had won a complete victory. Returned to the HMS Victory with the 5 freed prisoners. They entered the ship's airlock safe and alive. They had been rescued. They had been brought home. The HMS Discovery undocked from the Syndicate facility and moved into clear space. It took position beside the HMS Victory. 2 human military vessels, ready for combat, standing together. "Captain, we have the prisoners secure," reported. "All 5 are unharmed. Medical is checking them now." "Good work," Lisa said. "All units consolidate position. Prepare demolition charges. If they will not surrender, we will destroy this base." The Syndicate did not surrender. They did not have the strength to fight. They tried to hide. They tried to scatter, but there was nowhere to hide. The human forces systematically destroyed the Syndicate's military capability. They destroyed the dry dock. They destroyed the weapons storage. They destroyed the manufacturing facility. Whatever the Syndicate had used to arm itself and modify stolen ships was torn apart by human military power. By dawn, the Syndicate base was nothing but wreckage. The criminals had either died or been captured. The stolen ships had either been recovered or destroyed. The mission was complete. Lisa stood on the bridge of the HMS Victory and looked at the wreckage. It was a message written in fire and blood. A message that said humanity would not be stolen from. Humanity would not be victimized. Humanity would respond with absolute force. The message had been delivered. The journey home took 3 weeks. The HMS Victory and the HMS Discovery flew together through space, a pair of human warships showing the galaxy their strength. The 5 freed prisoners recovered in the ship's medical bay. Wells made sure they got good food and proper sleep. She made sure their injuries healed. She made sure they knew they were safe. Sarah Mitchell sat in the medical bay and looked out at the stars. She had been in captivity for 8 days. 8 days felt like a lifetime. The Syndicate had treated the prisoners roughly. They had threatened them. They had made it clear what would happen if they tried to escape. But Sarah had never lost hope. She knew someone would come. She knew humans did not leave their people behind. She knew Captain Lisa Morgan would send rescue. She was right. William Cooper sat beside her. He had been terrified during the captivity. He had tried not to show it. Military officers learned early not to show fear in front of enemies, but the fear had been there underneath the training. Now that fear was gone. He was home. He was safe. "The captain saved our lives," William said quietly. "She did more than that," Sarah replied. "She sent a message to every criminal in the galaxy. She told them what happens if they steal from humanity. She told them we will hunt them, we will find them, we will destroy them." The message was spreading through the galaxy faster than the speed of light. Radio waves carried the news of the Syndicate base destruction. Communications networks spread the story. Every criminal organization was listening. Every alien government was paying attention. Humanity had struck back. The Galactic Council learned about the attack from their own intelligence networks. Emergency sessions were called. Representatives from dozens of alien species gathered to discuss what had happened. The humans had attacked a facility on the edge of Council jurisdiction. The humans had killed Syndicate operatives. The humans had violated multiple agreements and treaties. But the humans had also rescued their own people. The humans had recovered stolen technology. The humans had destroyed a criminal organization that had been operating with relative freedom for years. The council was divided about what to do. Some representatives wanted to demand that humanity face consequences. Others understood that humanity had done what any civilized species would do. They had protected their people. 3 weeks after the rescue, the HMS Victory and the HMS Discovery arrived at Earth Space Command headquarters. A full honor guard was waiting. Military vessels lined the approach corridor. The highest-ranking officers of Earth's defense fleet were present. Captain Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the HMS Victory as the ship passed through the honor guard. Every ship that passed her fired salute cannons. The sound echoed through the communications system. It was the traditional way of showing respect to a victorious commander. Lisa had destroyed a criminal organization. She had rescued 5 prisoners. She had recovered stolen military technology. She had done what the Galactic Council thought would take months through diplomacy and negotiation. She had done it in 3 weeks using human courage and human tactics. When the HMS Victory docked, a military escort was waiting. Lisa walked down the boarding ramp in dress uniform. Every step took her toward recognition and celebration, but Lisa did not feel like celebrating. She felt tired. She felt the weight of command. She felt the loss of the 3 officers who had died defending the HMS Discovery at 7. The commanding general of Earth Space Command was waiting. General Robert Hayes was a tough old soldier. He had seen combat. He had made hard decisions. He understood what Lisa had done and why. "Captain Morgan, welcome home," General Hayes said. He extended his hand. Lisa shook it firmly. "Thank you, sir." The crew of the HMS Victory performed with excellence. The corvette captains showed exceptional bravery. The assault team led by executed a perfect infiltration. This victory belongs to all of them. "I understand," General Hayes said, "and your superiors will understand as well, but you gave the orders. You made the decisions. You are the reason 3 officers came home who probably would not have otherwise." Lisa was promoted to admiral. It was fast. It was unusual, but the military understood what had happened. A captain had made a decision to protect human lives and human honor. The captain had succeeded completely. Admirals had been promoted for far less. But the real reward came when Sarah Mitchell and William Cooper were officially released from medical care. They stood in front of a full assembly of military officers and media representatives. They told the story of their rescue. They described how Captain Morgan had hunted down the syndicate without hesitation. They explained that humans had proven they would not be victims. The story spread through Earth and then through Earth's colonies. The story spread from there into the galactic network. Every species in the galaxy learned what had happened at the syndicate base. The Galactic Council issued a formal statement condemning the unauthorized attack, but underneath the official condemnation, there was a new understanding. Humanity was not a species to be bullied. Humanity would not negotiate with criminals while their people were in danger. Humanity would respond to theft and violence with overwhelming force. Criminal organizations operating in galactic space learned a hard lesson. They began moving their operations away from human merchant vessels. They began treating human ships as dangerous prey. They learned to be afraid of humans in the same way they had always been afraid of the military organizations of the great alien powers. The 5 prisoners underwent debriefing. Everything they could remember about the syndicate base, its layout, its defenses, and its operations was recorded and stored. The information would be valuable for intelligence agencies trying to track criminal networks. The syndicate commander was placed in human custody. He faced trial for crimes against humanity. The trial was broadcast throughout the galaxy. Evidence showed his organization had killed thousands of people. Evidence showed they had operated slave markets. Evidence showed they had destabilized entire colonies. Was found guilty. He was sentenced to life imprisonment on an isolated space station. He would spend the rest of his life locked in a cell. He would have time to think about his mistake. His mistake had been believing that humanity was weak. His mistake had been thinking he could steal from humans without facing consequences. His life sentence was that consequence. Years later, historians would study the Syndicate base assault as a turning point in human history. Before the attack, humanity was seen as a young species still learning how to survive in a hostile galaxy. After the attack, humanity was seen as a species that would fight for its honor and its people. The assault demonstrated something important. Humans were creative. Humans could adapt to unexpected situations. Humans would sacrifice themselves for their people and their mission. Humans understood that some things were more important than rules and treaties. Some things, like protecting your own people, required action beyond diplomacy. Captain Sarah Mitchell was promoted to command her own ship. She named it the HMS Defiant. She used it to hunt criminal organizations that threatened human space. She became famous throughout the galaxy. Criminals learned to fear the HMS Defiant. William Cooper joined a rapid response unit that was created specifically to respond to crimes against humanity. The unit became known for its speed and its ruthlessness. When humans were taken prisoner, the Rapid Response Unit came. When human ships were stolen, the Rapid Response Unit responded. Admiral Lisa Morgan returned to her desk at Space Command. She reviewed reports. She trained new officers. She made sure the lessons learned from the Syndicate base assault were taught to every captain in the human fleet. But she never forgot the weight of command. She never forgot the 3 officers who had died at 7. She never forgot that victory had a price. The message had been sent to the galaxy. It was simple. Attack humans and face complete destruction. Steal from humans and face absolute retaliation. Take human prisoners and the entire human military will hunt you across space. Humanity had stood up. Humanity had fought back. Humanity had shown the galaxy that they were not weak. They were not victims. They were humans, and humans did not accept subjugation. That message, delivered in fire and blood at the Syndicate base, would echo through the galaxy for generations. It would change how every species treated humanity. It would change how humanity saw itself. The hunt had ended with a message, and the message had been heard by everyone.